It's Friday, April 16th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Ashfall from the La Soufrière volcano has prompted government to include the hazard in a revamped disaster management plan. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement during a press conference on Thursday. She said given the significant impact of the ashfall on the country following eruptions of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines volcano, the island no longer had the luxury of excluding the eventuality in its emergency planning.
Whether we like it or not, Barbados is at risk always based on the structure of the Soufrière volcano and the manner in which it explodes, it operates. Barbados is at risk always of this kind of ashfall. And this was the advice equally coming from Professor Robertson to me this morning. Recognizing as well too that there are multiple issues that have not necessarily taken and commanded people's attention. For us who remember 1979 and Soufrière, bottom line was it was nowhere near as bad as this. And to that extent, I suspect that is why even in the emergency planning in this country, it has never been fully integrated. I am here now to tell you that we don't have that luxury anymore because of the work that they have done. They know specifically that the shape of the volcano, the structure of the volcano, and the manner in which it is likely to operate, Barbados will probably, Bridgetown will probably be more at risk than Kingstown many of the times for the eruption. What does that mean? Just as we've gotten in the drill every year to be able to prepare for hurricane seasons, to know what to do with floods, we have now to have as part of our psyche the preparation of monitoring anytime Soufrière is active.
Managers of fish markets and workers were busy cleaning on a Thursday to ready the facilities for business next week. Eric Lewis, who is the senior manager of fish markets, oversaw cleanup operations at the Bridgetown Fish Market as workers cleared away the volcanic ash which rained down on the country following several eruptions of the La Soufrière volcano in St. Vincent.
This is an ongoing exercise. But we are hoping, if everything goes well, that we can open at least early next week. But this week we spent a lot of time assisting the fisher folk in terms of giving them ice, offloading fish boats, storing fish in the freezers, and as much as possible trying to make everyone as comfortable as possible given the circumstances. We are cleaning the car park. We are going to remove as much of the ash as possible. Then later this evening, we are going to wash it down with some seawater. The stalls have been cleaned already, and the processing halls have already been cleaned here at Bridgetown. The other markets are moving in the same vein.
To developments now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Uncertainty today about the future of hundreds of displaced residents who less than a week ago hustled out of the danger zone hours before the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. The Barbados Today team of multimedia journalists Kareem Smith and Kobe Brooms is on the ground in Kingstown and filed this report.
In a matter of days, life has changed dramatically for many across the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Hundreds have been displaced and many separated from their families, all because of the wrath of the La Soufrière volcano. Some of those in the danger zones shared heartbreaking stories of being plunged into an uncertain future, but even in the areas considered relatively safe, the impact is being felt. Many of the nearly 6,000 persons who fled the north of the island still have no idea what has become of their homes or livelihoods. The unfolding crisis is further complicated by the fact that hundreds of displaced persons are at the mercy of Good Samaritans and government shelters, with no idea when they will be able to return to their villages. Jean-Baptiste Adams recalled being paralyzed with fear at around 4:30 p.m. on Thursday, April 8, when a frantic call was made from Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves to evacuate her home in the village of Oya as La Soufrière rumbled nearby.
We got so frightened then that we couldn't move with everything because we did not know exactly what was transporting us to shelter. I understand, I think our neighbor told me that I had two small houses in the yard, those broke down. I have 4 dogs, they are behind.
Did you leave any family members, relatives behind, friends, anybody behind who decided that they didn't want to leave the red zone?
Well, I had 2 brothers who said that they did not want to leave. Right. But I don't know, for some reason or the other. What they had was to, because the police went in and they had was to come out. Yeah, one said, spoke to me last night. He said, the whole place just dark. He said he couldn't even see his own hands. And when he heard the stones start dropping, that is this time he started to panic.
From the home of Osborne Andrews in the Green Zone village of Belmont, Adams revealed that she and her relatives have no idea what her family's next steps will be.
That's very hard from a standpoint. I don't know. I don't know. It's rough. It's a rough situation. As I said, it's a lot of division with the rivers, because some of the rivers, the bridges, they separate. So we don't really know. But if I cannot go back and the government say, well, you can't go, and he decide to say, well, I'll get some of you all to stay, that you cannot go, I'll satisfy.
Kareem Smith for Barbados Today.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, health officials in Guyana will today begin offering COVID-19 vaccines to people 18 years and older. The development comes as the country recorded over 150 new virus cases in a day. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana reports.
Guyana recorded 153 new cases of coronavirus in the past 24 hours. It's the highest single-day increase in new cases since the virus was first detected in the country 1 year ago. But the health minister has revealed that more persons are getting vaccinated, and that's good news. The health minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, today said more than 70,000 persons have received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccines in the country. Many of those who took the first shot of the Sinopharm vaccine are due for their second dose. He also welcomed the increase in the number of vaccinated persons. He said the ministry is on track with its plan to get more Guyanese vaccinated.
Our vaccine uptake has been quite good. As of yesterday, we had more than 70,000 persons who've already received their first shot. And those who took the Sinopharm vaccine, many of them are now becoming due for their second shot. So once they have their second dose, they will become fully immunized. So I think so far we have made good progress.
And finally, closing arguments are scheduled to be heard on Monday in the trial of former U.S. police officer Derek Chauvin for George Floyd's murder. The defense and prosecution rested their cases on Thursday after the former officer waived his right to testify in his trial. More from France 24.
Invoking the right to remain silent, Derek Chauvin told the judge on Thursday that he would not be giving testimony. What would have been the first time the former police officer defended himself since the start of the trial.
I will invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege today.
Does anyone promise anything or threaten you in any way to keep you from testifying?
No promises or threats, Your Honor.
Do you feel that your decision not to testify is a voluntary one on your behalf?
Yes, it is.
Taking the stand could have made it possible for prosecutors to replay the video of the arrest and subject Chauvin to questioning. They argue that the African-American died of asphyxiation after more than 9 minutes of being held down by Chauvin's knee. Claim supported by an earlier witness, a pulmonologist, who testified last week that Floyd did indeed die from a lack of oxygen. The defense argues that the cause of death was an overdose combined with heart problems. The closing arguments are scheduled for this Monday. The jury will then have to unanimously agree to the defendant's guilt in order for him to be convicted. The 45-year-old faces third and second-degree murder charges, the latter carrying up to 40 years in jail.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.